Good morning, everybody. Okay. Nice and simple today. When I say simple, I find even the simple hard. Hopefully you agree with me. But my simple meaning, we've the last couple of weeks done a fair bit of standing work and balance work. So they're on the YouTube channel for you to go back and have a play with. I think it's really integral that you do enough standing balance work. I'm speaking from a person that's now 55 this year. You definitely notice a difference in balance. I always just assumed that that'd be something I'd carry with me through my life. And the last 5-6 years, my balance has definitely deteriorated. And it makes sense, right? Because your faculties, as in your sense of hearing and vision, definitely deteriorates as well. So I encourage you, get on the wagon early. And those of you in your 20s in the Zoom, don't underestimate the work you put in now in terms of getting you through the latter part of your life, the second half of your life. So balance, go back to that YouTube channel and practice with me as often as you can, at least once a week, with the challenge around the standing work and the balance, because we all felt it over the last couple of weeks, the stress that places through your system, the bone loading, but also the tendon loading work we did for your knees, ankles, Achilles, making getting up and down stairs possible for the long term. Okay, so this morning, I'll meet you on your tummy. We're going to flip the peak system upside down and we're going to work from the bottom up. So extension is going to come up first for us this morning, but not before we breathe. So let's sit and breathe, and then we'll be hitting prone. So enjoy, have a lovely time. Thanks for practicing with me. Here we go. Okay, so sitting cross legs, getting comfy, either hands on knees or hands on each other sitting in your lap. If this position is a little uncomfortable for you, feel free. You could meet me on a chair right now, or you could sit on a couple of cushions. We'll be here for a little while. So we're going to do our breathing and printing in this position this morning. So to begin with, close your eyes when you're ready. And just have a little moment, quiet moment. If you haven't already, land with your breath. Bringing awareness. Where can you feel it in your body? Dropping down and locating your lungs. And just sit with them as they do their thing. Now bring your awareness to the tippy point of the crown of your head. Sense an imaginary pull and lift. So it's like somebody's got hold of the tippy back point of the crown of your head and they're giving you a little tug up. Don't know about you, but that already made me conscious that I was poking my chin forward. So it's brought me back in check with my head, neck alignment and placement, which which is great because now I feel like I'm using my abdominals in my neck. I feel more lengthened in the back of the neck, with my chin slightly lower and my occipital rising. That's made me really conscious as I look down the spine now. I was definitely sitting a little forward with my rib cage. And I wasn't quite perched up on top of my sit bones. So you can check that. Bring your awareness down into those two little footstools. What does it feel like to sit perched right on top? Sending a very strong message to the lower back to sit, to lift, to work, but also to your hip. Take a deep breath in, count to 5. Hold it, hold it, and a very slow exhale. Take your time. Hold it, hold it, hold it. Very slow inhale, count to 6. Hold it, hold it, hold it. And a very slow exhale, count to 6. Two more sets. Remember the pause. Last practice. Let's take a little break. Soles of the feet together. It's not really a little break, but creep forward. Really great groin stretch. So pressing the soles of your feet together and just creeping the fingertips forward. So we're thinking further into the class. We're thinking the impact this might have with our roll back, with all our abdominal series work, but also our sideline, clam type activities, anything in external rotation, but also just releases the hip flexors and stretches the adductor and groin, making us more healthy around the hip, pelvis and back. Okay, stack back up, cross the other foot in front. I know, really uncomfortable. I'm with you. I hate it, but it's really important. Okay, this time we'll go into some abdominal pumping. So if you pop your hands on your belly, it's fun, I promise. So you're going, breathe in, count to 5. Should feel your belly come towards your fingers. And then on your exhale, count to 5, should feel your belly shift away from your fingers. Now, what we really should be focusing on is the diaphragm. So visualize inside you and see if you can sense it. As we breathe in, that diaphragm is pushing down, pushing down, pushing down, pushing down. Let it happen. And then on the exhale, the diaphragm goes. Breathe in. It's like a little jellyfish, really spongy. Can you get it to move? Can you get it to act like a jellyfish? Spongy, let it go. It's going to go all the way up. Your ribs are going to soften. Allow the ribs to move. Let them collapse. You have 2 more practices. How much air can you let in? Should feel it up here, should feel it round here, and should feel it in your back as well as in your belly. 3D. Now for 4. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4. Breathe out. 1, 2. Get it to move. 3, 4. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Get it to move. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out. 1. Feel it. 3 and 4. Hold it. Hold it. Hold it. 3. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3. Breathe out. Can you see what I'm doing with my hands? One more. Hold it. No air coming in or out. Hold it. Keep the support. Let's go 2. Breathe in for 2. Breathe out for 2. Check you're sitting up as tall as you can and haven't lost the position. In for 2 and out for 2. Can you get it to the depth each time it goes forward as far? It goes in as deep. 1, 2. Set. Hold it. Hold it. Hold it. It pumps. Five, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Rest. Little stretch again. Soles of the feet together. Okay, good. Let's have a little pelvic floor moment. Back to your first leg. Sitting back up as tall as you can. Eyes closed. Visualize the 4 points underneath your pelvis and take your thoughts there. So right now your brain sends a message to locate your 2 sit bones. Bang, you're there. Now locate your coccyx and your pubic bone. Physically locate them. Use your intelligence and your body awareness. You're mentally and physically there. Now sense the space between those 4 points. So you can sense an east to west line running across between your 2 sit bones. Actually see it. And draw an imaginary line between those 2 points. Yours might be dotted, yours might be coloured. Now draw an imaginary line between the coccyx and the pubic bone. Now practice drawing across your east to west line. Close the two sit bones. Now that's a physical action. Doesn't move a huge amount, but you should feel the tissue move, increase in tension. Now close the space between your coccyx and your pubic bone. Still sitting up tall, able to breathe. Careful you're not holding your breath. You've got all 4 points. Hold it. Now very slowly let it go. Spine doesn't collapse. Still breathing. Careful you're not pushing. They'll just separate. Just visualize those 4 points separating. Space. Practice again. Close the east to west line. Close the north to south. You've got all 4. It's a very tiny diamond now. Now try and lift through your 3 openings. As a female, you have 3. Close the back passage and lift it up. Close the middle and the front. Really important moment. Very gently let it go. No pressure, no pushing. One more time. Close your east to west line. Close your north to south line. Close the 3 openings. So you literally pull tension around those 3 openings, and you should feel a little internal lift. See if you can feel it. I don't know about you, but I've got one that's particularly hard. Make sure you can still breathe, so you're not holding your breath. Okay, very gently let them go. No pressure. Good. Release the feet, release the position. Coming over for a little back and hip stretch again. Bring your awareness into your breathing while we're here. Bring your awareness into your pelvic floor while we're here. So it's equally a good stretch. Good. Okay, back to the second leg. Now our practice is to see what we understand about applying breathing, pelvic floor diaphragm control for those common cues we hear in a Pilates class, which is, feel like you've got a corset wrapping. Feel your abdominals deepening. So let's see if we can spend some time now on coordinating breath, pelvic floor, and abdominal support. Eyes closed when you're ready. Start your breath, start your exhale. Look for the pelvic floor support. And then as you exhale and get rid of all the air, can you combine pelvic floor lifting, diaphragm rising, and abdominals wrapping and deepening? Gently let it go. So as you breathe in, you feel like your breath hits the container, hits the edges of your torso. It's nice to think about it as a container. Exhale. Look down deep. Feel the pelvic lift and pelvic support combined with the breath and the rising diaphragm. Energy wrapping around your torso using your abdominals. Getting to the end of your exhale and holding. Now, as you breathe in, you gently feel, you'll feel pressure against the container, but control it. 2 to go. Exhale, breathing out, long and slow and deep. Hold it at the end of your exhale. Very gently breathe in. You'll feel the air hitting the edges, but not breaking the container. Now bring your hands around with me onto your center line seam just here. So now the next trick before we lie down and practice pelvic curl is understanding that center line seam that runs from your pubic bone to your sternum. What does it feel like now to breathe in and let it stretch a little, but be careful about the pressure forward. So with your hands on now, we work it together. We go breathe in and fill, but minimize how much you fill. Keep the tension on the abdominal wall as you fill. And now exhale, let your ribs collapse, sit a little taller, and feel like your vest, your buttons on your vest here, close. Those little eyelet holes close. Now you're going to breathe in and fill gently, but be careful. You're going to feel the air drop in, but you're going to keep the tension on the abdominal. And now exhale, take us deeper, softer ribs. Let the diaphragm float up. Feel the abdominals deepen and draw in. And that center line seam, you're wrapping. Careful on your inhale. Air drops in gently, slowly. Keep the pressure on the abdominals. And now your longest, slowest exhale. Alrighty. Let's have a play. Let's see how that all goes. I've got my little favorite tool between my legs. So if you've got something to join me, that would be fantastic. Either a ball or a couple of cushions off your couch. Because our first little practice is just to get the adductor engagement and to notice how much that helps us sense pelvis, feel pelvis, and mobilize lower back, but also a way of strengthening the core. So I'm going to spend a little moment printing, just bringing awareness to the whole, touching in with my feet, noticing my weight placement in my foot, doing a little bit of toe yoga while I'm there so that I can sense big toe connecting to the floor and the pinky, laying all the other toes, the tips of the toes, sensing my arches in my feet. So a little lift underneath my arch so my feet are active. I can feel both pads of the feet, traveling up the shin, aligning the knees, down the thigh to find my hip. So I already feel like my leg is energetically traveling down into the hip joint. So I feel the weight of my leg. Up into the head, spreading out through the back of the head, lengthening down the spine. That already feels like it's set up pretty well from the work we've done seated. So I feel like I've got awareness in the spine already. Taking a moment to sense the rising sternum, the widening collarbones, and the floating scapula. So checking I'm not hardening underneath the armpit or tightening my scapula. But just bringing awareness to the upper torso. My arms are long, outstretched. My palms are open flat and my fingers are spread and long. So I'm connecting, I'm using the floor to bring about a consciousness of how all the parts relate to each other. Next deep breath out, I'm going to gently squeeze the tool between my legs. Feeling the energy rising, dropping down into the hip through the adductor line, collecting pelvic floor. And I'm doing a deep exhale to practice exactly what we did sitting up. Gently breath in, air drops in, but I'm really aware of maintaining abdominal tension. Let's do 3 more. Exhale. Double check you're getting to the end of your exhale. Let all the air out. Follow the journey of the breath. Remember, it goes north as you exhale. So follow the journey of the diaphragm and the breath. Feel it pass through you. Mouth closed. Last practice. Hold the tension. Gently rock back. Tiny imprint. Exhale. Inhale, return. Think about what we practiced sitting up. Can you bring all those elements in? The length, through the column, through the spine. The awareness, whole body, all the parts, actively seeking clarity on alignment. Look out for any unnecessary tension. So catch yourself out. Is it in your jaw? Is it in your pecs? Is it in your middle back? Is it in your butt? Are you gripping? Breaths getting deeper. Now we're pelvic curling. Breathe. Stay at the top. 3 deep breaths. Slowly roll. Gently breathe in. Be careful you don't lose the abdominal tension as you inhale. That's the toughest moment. Exhale. Three deep breaths. Careful, really control yourself at the top when you breathe in. Slowly roll. Last practice. Three deep breaths. Slowly roll. Let's go chest lift. Hands behind the head. Have a little moment to reset. Exhale. Stay. 3 deep breaths. Slowly lie back. So I'm looking for all those connections we worked on sitting up. Exhale. Slowly lie back. One more practice. And slowly lie back. I'm going to take the ball out. Very cool. And about you, I feel very involved in my inner thigh, pelvic floor, and abdominals, and I feel much more managed with my breath. Next, exhale to float left leg. Breathe in at the top. Send it down. Bring your awareness into the whole body before you move the leg, and particularly the leg you're leaving behind. So be careful there's enough energy connecting the leg you leave behind. So remember how we printed? Keep practicing. So right leg's going down now. So I spend my time very quickly connecting right foot to the floor, sucking and drawing right leg into the hip. And that then creates stability so that my moving leg can mobilize. So just make sure you've got that clarity. It's actually harder for the leg you leave behind. You've got to bring conscious awareness. Foot lands, leg sucks and draws into the hip, anchoring the pelvis, particularly on the side you're leaving behind. You'd feel the energy travel all the way up into your shoulder girdle, your upper torso. As soon as you connect the foot, the leg to the hip, you should feel that energy connection all the way up into your upper torso. Last practice, right leg stays up. Left leg joins. Right leg touches down. Really draw the energy into the hip. Left leg touches down. It's fun, right? So if you're sending that message constantly from feet to leg down into hip, then the energy, the pivot point is actually the hip. So the leg feels constantly light, but also you feel the effort, the sense of force absorption deep in your hip and across your pelvis line. Exhale, left leg. Good, now energy into the hips. Stay. 5 deep breaths. As you breathe out, see if you can sense the leg being swallowed by the hip. See if you can allow the pelvis to support the weight of the legs. One more. Preparing for spine twist. Inhale, legs and pelvis go right. Tipping, rotating. Exhale, bring us back to center. Inhale, left. Exhale, center it up. Remember that corkscrew suction energy of legs to hip. Just make sure you don't rest. Last one. Take a deep breath. Both legs are going down together. Sense pelvis, sense hips. Support it. Great, they've landed. Little gap. Ball back in or cushions back in. Cooler. Exhale. Next exhale, you're going to practice rotating and then flexing. Come back to center, come back to a hover. Now see if you can rotate there in your hover without rotating your pelvis. So you've got to turn your upper torso and now flex through that upper torso line without rotating your pelvis. Back to center. Secure feet, legs sucking and drawing into hip. Use your inner thighs. Breathe. Back to center. Careful through the abdominal wall, so only come as far forward as you're not pushing. Remember the detailed work we did sitting. Bring that with us. One more each side. Rest. Draw the knees in on your chest and have a little moment. Using your arms to gently draw the legs in, softening through the hips, stretching through the back, the glutes, the hamstrings. Okay, place left leg down, grab hold of right leg. Enjoy a gentle hamstring stretch. And now grab hold underneath your thigh and fold the right leg in towards your chest. And now as you reach it up, flex through the foot. And now as you pull it down, point through the foot. Let's do two more. Stretching it up and flexing it in. Last one, stretching it up and flexing in. Let's swap legs. Unfolding it up, pointing and bringing it in. Flexing, extending, and pointing, bringing it in. We'll hold it on the next one. Try and reach your hands a little further towards your ankle. Okay, let's try our leg circles. Let's keep left leg bent. Let's stretch your right leg up. With the right leg up, the right leg's going down towards your floor, low and long. It's opening out to 2 o'clock on the clock face. It's coming up on that 2 o'clock line, back to 12. It's going down to 6. Opening out to 8. And back up. Not sure my numbers really work, so I've stopped it. I kind of know what I was heading for. It was just to kind of clean up and clear up so that the circle doesn't get too large. Because I don't know about you, I find it really hard to keep my left hip pelvis steady. Let's reverse it. Narrow on my opening, conscious of what my left foot, suction into my left hip with my left leg, so I can anchor and ground the pelvis. I can bring awareness into the stability of the pelvis. Very strong work for the right hip flexor. Don't be afraid of it. Switch legs. Bring awareness to that right foot and right leg. Anchor into the right hip. Active through your pelvis, your torso, your shoulders, your arms. Exhale. Think back to the start of the class. One more. Reverse it. One more. Great. Grab hold of both legs. Start rocking. Now that's okay. It's taken me that long to get to the top. So just pause at the top with me. I think rolling like a ball is one of the hardest Pilates exercises, and it catches me out every single time. So without cheating now, I'm going to work on maintaining the distance between my chest and thighs. So I'm establishing it at the top, and I'm going to do my very best not to change that as I rock and roll. And it doesn't matter if I don't get up. I'm going to think imprint, and I'm going to fight for that gap. Legs are actively sucking and drawing into your hip. Feet are squeezing together. So I keep the adductors. I've got a roll. I want a soft landing. Last one. Rest. Whew. Okay, let's side reach it. Good, let's enjoy the life, that sense of energy we've got in the spine and torso now. Let's tip over. Creep out a little further. And now let's flex that spine laterally. So can you feel the curve you're making with your back? Does it feel like the joints are creating that shape? And then lift it back up. So I'm long, I'm vertical. I tip over like a leaning Tower of Pisa. I find the floor creep a bit further. And now I've got a shape, it's like a C. I've got to fit both sides into that shape. So that really encourages me to open up and stretch the rib space on my top side, release the lat tension, and lift back up. I'm like a leaning Tower of Pisa first. Find the floor creep further. And now I've got to shape the spine. So I've got to get that movement in my middle back. Stretching through the obliques, the intercostals, the lats, the QL on my lower back. One more, leaning Tower of Pisa, lean out. Find the floor creep a little further. And now, big, broad brush stroke sweep with that top arm. Waving over. And lifting back up. One more. Leaning Tower of Pisa, over you go. Creep. And sweep. Abdominal supporting. Good, and rest. Okay. Let's spin over on our tummy. Good, we're going to hit extension with a little bit of rotation. So we're going to set up turning and laying our left face cheek on our right hand. Have a little moment there. I've got my left arm back by my side and my palm is up. My legs are apart. They're about the width of my pelvis. My legs are in parallel. My kneecaps are lifted. My legs are engaged. I'm already pushing off the tops of my feet. So I'm going to do my basic back extension, but I'm going to twist and turn. I'm going to hold it. So I'm trying to look up towards my right elbow, like someone's picking me up through that side. And then I'm going to lower back down and try again. Tricky, right? So you've got to think long and forward. You've got to swing that sternum forward, out and away and up. And then you've got to spiral, but keep your pelvis. Feel both feet, even pressure both feet. Lay back down. Here we go. Think long. Reach forward. So it's a variation progression on your basic back extension. Lift through your heart and chest. Support through your abdominals. Active supporting. And lower back down. We have one more. Long to start. Extend and rotate. Good, let's do the other side. Okay, bring awareness into pelvis, legs and feet. Lengthen, extend, rotate, and lift up. Little pause at the top. Check your pelvis, check your legs. Can you feel both feet? And lower back down. Only come up as high as you're sure you haven't collapsed in your lower back. As you're sure you're not pushing the floor away with your tummy. So you want to bring the abdominals with you. Elongate. Turn. And lower. Last one. And rest. Sitting back on your heels. Have a little moment in child pose. Okay, great. Spinning over, land on your left side. Good. Bring your left hand in. Both legs are outstretched. Raise the top leg up. Top leg swings forward. So side kick. Top kick. Leg swings back. Flex the top foot and swing it forward. Point the top foot and swing the leg behind. Using the top hand for a little support. You'll notice there's a little bit of torso movement. That's okay. As you build range in, that's fine, providing you're aware, you've got conscious awareness that you're actually leading the movement from your center. So it's from pelvis I kick, and from pelvis I swing. Last one, pelvis. Good, now it's going to get a little more fun. Top hand behind your head. You're going to rotate without falling. So you'll only go as far forward to rotate as you don't fall. Everything comes back in line. And now you're going to rotate back without falling. Everything comes back in line. And log roll over the top only as far as you don't fall. Everything comes back in line. And log roll back. So start to gently open up the range. I can support it. Got to keep my underneath leg fully outstretched. So that's my anchor, strength through length. For one more time. So it's a variation, it's a progression on your side kick. Challenging rotational control, core strength, lateral hip strength, spinal mobility through rotation. Good, other hip. I like it, huh? Feels good. All right, here we go. Getting ready for our first version of side kick, hand on the floor, top leg lifted, flex the foot and sweep it forward. Careful that underneath leg doesn't buckle. Sweep it forward. Stay nice and strong through your torso, particularly your waist. You'll need to use your shoulders. Last one. Okay, hands behind. Sweeping forward. Use your waist, fanning back from the waist. Laying forward. See if you can feel the abdominals. See if you can feel the center of the pelvis. So you're moving through center. Spine elongated. Legs fully outstretched. You're aware of the shoulders. You're aware of the arms slotting in. Last one. Finishing back. And rest. Spinning over onto all fours. Tucking our toes and dropping our weight back. Checking in with the feet. Spreading your toes, creating a space between the toes. Connecting the tippy points. As the feet land, we're starting to roll up. Still have that moment where you check in with your feet. Be conscious of involving your arches so they don't collapse. Here we go. Feet land. Check arches. Check your alignment. Drop head. Knees bent. Roll through the back. And arrive upright in your standing position. As soon as you feel ready, close eyes with me. And you do our start practice standing. So check in with pelvic floor. Check in with breath. Spend your time playing with gravity. So allowing the pelvis to center itself. Checking and not locking at hip. Legs actively setting up like a pair of struts so the pelvis can balance itself. Energy into the feet, so the feet are really taking the floor. Active arches, so we can feel the energy traveling from the arches all the way up through the long piston legs. Pelvis balancing on top. Spine stacking. Rib cage floating. Shoulders opening and widening. Arms dangling. Gently open your eyes. And have a lovely Thursday. Have a great one.